has an incredible background, a really rich educational and professional experience that I think he'll probably share with you. So I won't give him a formal introduction, but I know that you guys will really enjoy his presentation. Dr. Bolton?
I should get from behind this mic because I might think I'm preaching now.
It's okay.
Can I get an amen? Amen. Before I began, this presentation is loaded with misspelled words, and that's by design. It's loaded with misspelled words by design because if you catch it, that means you look. That means you're listening. So before I begin our time together, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. And whenever they invite somebody like me, they're really taking a chance. They're really taking a chance. I'll speak to you for a while. I'll open up for questions. Anything you want to ask me, you're most welcome to, even if it's my height. Now, I'm alive out there. I'm alive out there. I will answer your question. So, SGA. So, is anybody in here not a part of the SGA? Not a part of the SGA. All right, SGA. So what does it stand for? What you said? Student Government Association. Thank you. You might be okay. If I shake your hand more than 2 seconds, something's wrong. So, Student Government Association. Do you all mind if I put a switch to that? Course now? You said course now? Can I get more than one course now? Go ahead. All right. Let's start here. Are you kidding me? Is this for real? Who told you all that you were the leaders of tomorrow? Who told you all that you were the voice of tomorrow? Who told you all that you have a bright future? The reason I ask that question is I think part of what they said was a lie. I do not believe that you are the voice of tomorrow. I do not believe that you are the leaders of tomorrow. I do not believe that you just have a bright future. What do you think I believe? Class participation, 5% of your grade. What do you think I believe?
That we make our futures, that we're going to make our futures.
That you make your futures. Thank you. Is it Michaela?
Yes.
Michaela?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm James. So what else do you think I believe? Great answer. What'd you say?
That we're here to build a happy harmony in the U.S.
To build a happy harmony in the U.S. Wonderful. What else you think I believe? That you are the leader of today. That you are the voice of today. That your today is just as bright as your tomorrow. Student Government Association. Now, when you say the word student, there's something that comes to mind, and I doubt if it will be the true etymology of the word student. When you think of the word student, what do you think of? Learning. What else? One more answer. Because the late Middle English word means something past learning. And I'll see if you can remember that by the end of this talk. Government. Government. Government implies rules and regulations. But this group, before you leave Odessa College on tomorrow or whenever you're going to leave, it's going to be more than rules and regulations. because this group is going to move beyond rules and regulations to building relationships. Association. Now, growing up, I had an issue with associations because I wasn't tall enough for some associations. My head was too big for other associations, and my glasses were too thick for associations. But for you, before you leave this weekend, I challenge you to not let an association just be a group, but also to let an association that you build, I desire for that association to be the place where strangers become friends. While you're developing skills, while you're getting to know one another, I want you to work to ensure that every voice, not just the voice that looks like yours or speaks the king or the queen's English, but that every voice is being heard. As the Student Government Association, please not only represent others, but also, same word, different pronunciation, represent others. Because there are some people that will never have the platform and the voice that you have. SGA. We're going from Student Government Association to search, go, and achieve. Don't you know that you're only as good as your last good idea? Run out of ideas and tell me how valuable you will become. And that's why I tell people, if the dream that you currently have, if the dream that each and one you currently have, if your dream matches your bank account, you may be dreaming too small. Why think big if you're not going to think, why think small, I should say? Why have small thoughts in this particular life when you have everything available to you? There was an old song that says, I might as well think big. Why should any thought be small? I might as well think big if I'm going to think at all. So you, SGA members, must think big because the world is wide open to you. Wide open. So you have to ask yourself daily, what contributions will I make to the world to make the world a better place? If, God forbid, you die tomorrow and this world is not better, what did you contribute to it? What at all did you contribute to it? Because a lot of times in our life, we see good, we see bad, we see the ugly, but listen to this. How you see things determines the things that you see. What's the difference between a stumbling block and a stepping stone? How you see it. You either trip over it and fall and hurt yourself, or you step on top of it and go higher and have a better perspective. Abraham Lincoln said something very interesting. What's your name? Justin. You know what Abraham Lincoln said? He said this. He said the best way to predict your future is to create your future. If you want to know what you're going to be, if you want to know what you're going to become, start to create it. Walk that path. If you think it, ink it. If you what? Think it, ink it. Write it down. The #1 bestseller of all time says, write your vision and make it plain. Simply because most of the things that you write down, you actually do. So, SGA, see, go, achieve. SGA also stands for set that garbage aside. I like to tell my class this around the time that they're doing my evaluation. This is what I like to tell them. You know what I like to tell them? like selling this. I say, you know what? If you don't like me, that's cool. I like me. I may not be your cup of tea, but I'm still some good McDonald's tea. Sometimes, SGA members, the biggest problem that we have, what kind of problem? The biggest problem we have is our small view of ourselves. That's the biggest problem. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I'll never be able to do that. Most people that come into my anatomy and physiology class, I do a poll at the beginning of class. I said, how many of you all heard that this class was hard? 90% of them raised their hand. I say, how many of you all heard that you would not get an A in this class? About 70% raised their hand. And I asked them, who did you hear this from? Because as scholars, as SGA members, you have to be able to guard your heart just as well as your ears and your eyes. A lot of times we are defeated by what somebody else say about us. Their opinion matters more to us than our own opinion. A lot of you all put on the outfit you got on, the lipstick, the hair color, to see what somebody else was going to say about you. Because of that desire for others to make us feel good. But if you can't be comfortable with the skin you're in, you got a problem. And I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about that later. So, don't let people distract you from what you know about yourself. If you are glad, G-L-A-A-D, if you are good looking at a distance, to your own self, be your biggest cheerleader. Because if a person can control your emotions, if a person can control your mind, they can control you. So adversary, hard times, challenges, they're going to always come. They're going to always come. But sometimes, here's what you have to believe within yourself. Adversary or adversity causes many people to break down, but it should cause y'all to break records. That's what it should cause you all to do as the who? S-G-A. Because broken crayons still color. So no matter how you've been broken in life, in school, in relationships, make sure that you still got a coloring book. Sir, you want to know the reason why I said that? Yeah. I'll tell you. Thanks, Pastor. Because that which did not kill you was meant to build you. If you're still here after a broken heart, a broken relationship, broken anything else, if you're still here and it did not kill you, you're here because it was meant to build you. So, regardless of what they say, I got a feeling that for the last 10 minutes, most of y'all have realized one thing about me. I'm black. No. I guarantee most of y'all, I said most, right? That was my disclaimer. She said no, so she's not in that most category, right? Most of y'all realize that I'm black. But one thing I had to do was to be comfortable with the skin that I'm in. Y'all see what that say? Department chair. What's up? What's above that? Dr. James Bolton, right? So I was in my office, in that office right there, and a lady who was a little bit older than me knocked on the door. Where was I? In my office, and a lady who's a little bit older than me knocked on the door. She was a different color than I was. When she knocked on the door, I was talking to my best friend. Now, my best friend is a little bit different from me. You know, he's still working on his religion, okay? So he's a little different than I am. So I'm talking to him. She knocks on my door, and she walks in. When she walks in, I welcome her. I stand up, due respect, and I say, how may I help you? Now, where did she just come in? To? In my office. You know what she asked me? Where's Dr. Bolton? I say, ma'am, I'm Dr. Bolton. She says, but you're black. I mean, you're so young. I said, because I'm who? So who was on the phone with y'all? My best friend. And he working on that Christianity thing. So in my ear, he said, tell that such and such. And I'm trying to, you're trying to reduce the volume. Right? So he's like, no, put her on the phone. He's not going to go there. So I say, ma'am, how may the black Dr. Bolton help you? And you know what she said? I'm too embarrassed to ask you that I came in here to see if your department would sell books to your students. All I did was stand up and show up. Now my best friend on the phone, he's still going in. Put me on speakerphone. You don't cuss, but I'm on. Let me get. And the point of that story is, get you a cussing good friend. Yeah. So even though I was the black person who was not supposed to be the department chair, all I did was stand up. Because regardless of what somebody think about me, I'm comfortable in the skin that I'm in. And you have to be the same way. If you get your hair done and they don't compliment you, you get into that mirror and you compliment yourself. It's amazing how one bad statement can mess up an entire day. Because I can come in here and tell y'all how great you all are, that the mark of greatness is upon you, and I believe that. But once somebody can tell you something bad, well, you don't look good today, or you don't look good in that color, and that will ruin your day. Because human nature is prone to focus on the bad and not highlight the good. But before you leave this weekend, I want you to highlight the good. And not only highlight the good, but seek good advice. It is a fool that makes every mistake there is to be made. That's a fool. And y'all can say James J. Bolton said it. Now I'm not talking to y'all, because y'all not going to do that. I'm talking to the people next door. A good leader leads by example and not force. They lead by example and not fear. Now this walk that you all are walking as SGA officers, members, is not an easy walk. In fact, if you've been in it at any given time, it's a challenging walk. But I like to say this. If it doesn't challenge you, I doubt if it would ever change you. Get involved. Get what? Involved. Do what? Get involved. I did not say become a cheerleader. I said what? Get involved. Because cheerleaders on the sideline never receive the hits nor the pay of the players. Read. That's why I got all these misspelled words up here. How many of y'all caught them so far? How many of y'all caught them? Read. The more you read, the more you know. The more you know, the further you go. Stop. Rewind. Somebody missed that. I'm about to hit play again. Boom. The more you read, the more you know. The more you know, the further you go. And also, make good choices. I love to say this, and I'm going to say it very, very quickly. 3 things about choices. Number one, I like the fact that you write this down. What's your name? Oh, Nikki. So it's called Nikki. How you go, Nikki? Thank you. 3 things about choices. Number 1, you can make the choice, but you cannot choose the consequence. It's the first thing. So that's why you got to make good choices. You can make the choice, but you cannot choose the consequence. Number 2, Number 2 about choices. Choices are long-lasting and life-changing. Choices are long-lasting and life-changing. Number 3, Bryce, about choices, is you win or you lose by what you choose. It ain't old there. Rebecca, that's why I want you all to make what? Good choices. SGA also stands for study, grasp, advance. It takes a strong person to lead. And some people, believe it or not, some people are leading while they're bleeding. Because it's a challenge. But please set your mind on doing things that people consider impossible. They told me when I was growing up in Chicago, born and raised in Chicago, they said you would never be a doctor. You black, you poor, nobody in your family ever been to school. They told me I would never be that. They said it was impossible. Impossible, SGA, only means it's yet to be done. Because the moment you do it, it's now possible. You have a purpose. You were created to do what nobody else can do, so be you. Be the best you that you can be. Your purpose is revealed by what you're good at. So be so good at what you do that people pay you to be good. That then reveals your destiny. Have good networking skills. There's nobody in here who should leave here as a stranger. Because watch this. Your net worth oftentimes dictates your net worth. You don't know who you're sitting by. That person could have $1,000 in their pocket. Anybody? So network. You never know who you're going to come in contact with again. You never know who you're going to need a job from. And your network oftentimes is dictated, or they'll give you insight to your net worth. Change the environment just by being you. Somebody in here is going to be changed just by sitting next to the person that they're sitting next to. You don't have to do a whole lot of talking. Nobody want to hear that anyway. But when you do speak, make sure you got something to say. So, what is the definition of a student? Anybody know? I'll tell you. The word student comes from a Latin word which means pain. Anybody took organic chemistry? Painful. Physics, painful. That teacher that was boring, painful. But pain, the reason why things hurt is because you want them to stop hurting. It gets your attention. Pain gets your attention. And no matter what this walk of life brings you, if there's any, look, if pain was commercials, all of us would be on TV. Because everybody in here at some point in your life had experienced a painful situation. So what else does SGA stand for? Some goals accomplished. Look, don't just sit around and do nothing. Even a waiter waits. And you tell me the last time your waiter stood there and didn't bring you your food. And don't mess with a hungry person now, okay? Start today being great. You don't have to wait till tomorrow to be great. The mark of greatness is on you right now. Look yourself up and down and say, I'm great. That's it. Yeah, do that. I'm great. Now, how many of y'all believe that you're great? You're unique. Unlike any other. There's nobody who can be you or beat you being you. But when you try to be somebody else, you devoid the world of your gifts, of your creativity. Oh, I want to be like Mike. No, well, sort of like Mike Money. But you have a purpose, and you will not die until you fulfill that purpose. So I invite you to live until you die. Enjoy life. Have fun. Smile. A smile is the most inexpensive way to improve your looks. Am I lying on what I'm saying? Walk out of a line. Yeah, I was going to get you. But when you leave this particular room, people should know you've been here. Not by the way you smell. People should know you've been here. And focus. Focus. Follow one course until successful. Focus. Don't try to do it all. Listen, you will never make a world of difference, but you ought to be a difference in this world. Lastly, sincerely give assistance. Do it from the heart. Be kind. Be kind. There's at least some good in everybody. Be kind. You can catch, Grandma said you can catch more bees with what? Honey than you can vinegar. And some of y'all walked in here look like y'all ate sauerkraut for breakfast. Like y'all had sauerkraut on your table, a sauerkraut snack, and a lemon juice smoothie. Smile. Even if you ain't got 32. You got 10. All right? If you got one, take that one off of your necklace and put it in your... Smile. Be a mentor. Y'all hear me what I said? Now I'm going to say this, I'm going to drink this, I'm just about done. Be a mentor, not a tormentor. Freely give of your gifts. Don't make people have to pay for stuff that you didn't pay for yourself. I'm going to say that because I'm on video. I found a small amount of money in HEB yesterday. And I'm going to give it to my bank account. No, I'm going to give it away. What good is love if you keep it to yourself? Somebody needs to receive it to you, so give it to somebody else. The heart of SGA. The heart of SGA should be the student's home. Because there's some gifts, some talents that somebody somewhere needs to receive from you. And don't just serve your fellow students. Serve the generation behind you. Because the younger you get them, the more you can affect them. And lastly, do it from your heart. Y'all see what that is up there? This is a ladder. This is a ladder. Now, in May, I was invited to speak for the National Society of Leadership and Success. I was invited to speak there, okay? And it's on YouTube if you want to check it out, James Bolton, National Leadership Success. So I was invited to speak for this big wig thing, and I was so excited, but I was busy. I was crazy busy. So I decided what you see at the top, that's my speech. Because I was busy, I couldn't afford to remember this particular speech. So I'm on the stage, honest to goodness truth, I'm on the stage, and I come up with this clever idea. Hey, here's the ladder, because my speech was called the ladder of success. So I said, here's a ladder, and what I can do is I can make the people think I'm really good by coming with this stuff out of my mind, right? But they wouldn't know it because they were sitting out in the audience. I'm on the stage. I come with this clever James J. Bolton idea to paste my speech to the top of the ladder. So I could be like, yeah, no, make it look down, look down. Well, guess what happened? Right before I got up there to give this speech, they turned off the lights. Completely turned off the lights, and y'all can tell I ain't got good sight anyway. They turned off the lights. You all are lights, and let me just throw this hook in here. Anatoly said something like this. Anatoly said, it's understandable when children are scared of the dark, but it's deplorable when adults are scared of the light. But they turned them off on me before I got up there with my speech. So I went up, and I was like, what am I going going to do now? What am I going to say? I can't see. The light's out. But I looked out in that audience, just like I'm looking at you. And for 15 minutes, the best speech, I believe, of my 40 years of breathing and blinking came to mind. And a gentleman walked up to me. The first gentleman said, here's my son. He has not been doing it good in class. He has been running with the wrong crowd. He wants you to mentor him. I said, I'll gladly. The second person came up to me, said, hey, will you sign my notebook? I said, why? I said, because that was the most famous speech I ever heard. I signed the notebook. The third person came up to me. You know what they said? Dr. Bolton, didn't you have your speech attached to the letter? I said, I did. They said, well, how was it so good? And I told them, simply, because I did it from my heart. My time is up and I